Good morning, students. Your last session is matter around us pure. In the last chapter, we had discussed about the fractional distillation process and other separation process. So I will discuss some of the question first. Okay. Now you see one question. It is after the crystallization method. You can see some questions are here. How will you separate? How will you separate kerosene and petrol? One question is there. How will you separate kerosene and say for example I am writing the whole question. Okay, now I will give you the answers. How will you separate kerosene and petrol? One question was there. Then second question, other question, butter from curd. Then camphor from salt. Now the techniques from separation of kerosene and petrol can be done by fractional distillation process. I have shown you that process, fractional distillation. Then curd from milk can be by centrifugation. And camphor from salt, it can be done by the process of sublimation. Okay, because camphor is a sublimable substance, that is it is a highly volatile substance, therefore it will sublime or it will undergo directly from solid state to gaseous state. So these are the process from which we can separate the mixture, separate the substances in the mixture. Okay, now next one question was there. What type of mixtures are separated by the techniques of crystallization? So what kind of mixture it can be crystallized? It can be crystallized. The mixtures that are the question was what type of mixtures are separated by the technique of crystallization. So you can say pure solid in the form of crystals. Pure solid in the form of crystal from its solution, that is whenever pure solid is present in an impure solution, we can separate the crystal solid from it in the pure state. So the answer will be pure solid in the form of its crystal from its solution can be separated by the technique of crystallization. So these are the answers. Okay, and the other questions you just see after completing completing the video, you just go to the question answers. Okay, and in the doubt clearing class you come with your doubts. Okay, so that because this will be my last session and I will be not doing any doubt session class further, because with the completion of the class we will conclude the doubt session class also. So you better go through after completing the videos, you better go through the question answers, and you in the doubt clearing class, whatever doubt you have, you come in the session. Okay, next, today we will discuss about physical and chemical changes. I will better write in this way. Okay, physical change and chemical change. Physical change and chemical change. So what is a physical change? You have gone through physical change and chemical change. Physical change I will write the difference. Okay, in a different. Here physical change, say for example solid, that is ice to water, then to vapor. So what happens here? Ice and the chemical composition of water is what? H2O. So in the vapor state its composition will be H2O in solid form, in liquid form, and in gaseous state the form of water is H2O. So this form is not changing, only the physical state, that is the interconversion of the physical condition, it is changing. So that type of change is known as physical change. Interconversion of states is known as physical change. Whereas in chemical change, what happens? Right here, the interconversion of states Whereas chemical change is chemical composition of substances of chemical composition of substance changes. Then it is a temporary change, whereas it is a permanent change. Then in physical change, no new substance is formed, whereas in chemical change, new substances are formed. Say for example, H2 plus hydrogen plus oxygen, it will combine to give water. So this is a chemical change because hydrogen, it is these two, hydrogen and oxygen, they are in the gaseous state, and from the gaseous state they are converting into liquid state, that is water. So these are some of the difference between physical and chemical changes, and no need to go further because you have already gone through physical change and chemical change. So in the last part of your chapter, you can see in the exercise portion, some of the questions are given there, like rusting of iron, then turning of milk into curd. This type of changes are what kind of changes you have to write, either physical change or chemical change. You go through your question answers, then you come to the doubt session class. I am repeating again, okay? Next comes the pure substances. Pure substance is matter around us pure, and the last part of this chapter it is matter around us pure. See, the matter, it is divided into, matter as a whole, it is divided into pure substances and mixtures. Okay, these two are the broad classification of matter. Now the question, the whole chapter is matter around us pure. So we have already discussed about mixtures. Now we will discuss about the pure substances. I will give you the flow chart. Here you see the mixtures are of two kinds, homogeneous and one is heterogeneous. I think homogeneous and heterogeneous are clear to you. Now pure substances are broadly divided into two types. One is elements and another is compounds. Okay, elements means what kind of elements? Say hydrogen, helium, these, iron, these are all elements, metals, non-metals and metalloids. I will discuss it in the pure substance part. Then compounds. What are compounds? Compounds are water is a compound, then HCl, it is a compound. So these are all compounds. Compounds means they are composition of two or more elements, whereas the element, it is present in the elements, only one kind of one kind of atom is present. Okay, one kind of substance, it is known as, whenever one kind of substance or one kind of atom it is present, then it is known as element. Hydrogen, helium, lithium, all the, we know that in the periodic table the elements are arranged, so these are all the elements. Now we will discuss further. You can draw the flow chart, okay? It is given in your book. You can go through your book also, or you can go through this diagram. Let's discuss pure substances. What are pure substances? Pure substances are classified broadly into two types. Elements. What are elements? When made up of one kind of atom. Okay, when made up of, whenever a substance is made up of one kind of atom, it is known as element. Now the element are of three types. They are broadly classified into metals, non-metals, and number Number 3, it is metalloids. Okay, these are the classification of elements: metals, non-metals, and metalloids. So what are metals? I will just discuss the properties of metals. Okay, now metals means what? Iron, sodium, magnesium, calcium, these are all metals. Means the elements which are present in the left hand side of your periodic table, they are known as the metals. You can see the periodic table. Okay, left hand side elements are known as metals, right hand sides are known as non-metals. So non-metals are oxygen, fluorine, neon, etc. These are all non-metals. And metalloids are those. What are metals? Metals are those elements which have metallic luster, which are very hard, which are malleable, which are ductile. So these type of elements are known as metals. Then non-metals which are not hard, or we can say that is they exist in gaseous state. Okay, they do not have any luster, or they do not have any, exception will be there, they do not have any ductility, they do not have any malleability. I will discuss the properties, but I am telling you these are non-metals. And what are metalloids? Metalloids are those whose properties are intermediate between metal and non-metal. The elements whose properties are intermediate between metals and non-metals, they are known as metalloids. For example, silicon, germanium, Ge means germanium, and another is boron. These are all metalloids. Their properties are in between. You can see one division is there in your periodic table, this type of zigzag line with the different colors there. In your book you can see that it is in green color, or it might be in pink color. Okay, so here you can see boron, then you can see silicon. In this way you can find out a zigzag line in the periodic table with different colors. So these type of elements are known as metalloids. Now let's discuss the properties of metals, non-metals, and metalloids. We'll just discuss the properties of metals and non-metals. Okay. For metals, number 1, they have metallic luster. Metallic luster means what? You can see that the gold earrings, silver earrings, then you can see iron plates, aluminum sheets, they all have a shiny appearance. So this shiny appearance is known as metallic luster. Okay, next you can find that they are ductile. Ductile means what? You can see copper wire. You can whenever you can the wire that is through which electricity pass, you can see that there is a plastic coating, no doubt. In between the plastic coating you can see thin lines, thin metal lines. Okay, these lines, that is the metal can be cut into small lines. Okay, they can be drawn into thin lines. That property is known as ductility, and they are therefore ductile. Ductile means what? Whenever we can draw anything into thin lines. Okay, like hair-like threads we can draw. That property is known as ductility, and who possess this property are known as ductile substances. Next we can see they are malleable. Malleable means what? We can beat the elements, we can beat these metals into thin sheets. Like gold, we can whenever hammering is done there, we can say that the like thin sheets, they can be beaten, or they can be hammered into thin sheets. So that property is known as malleability, and those which possess this property are known as malleable substances. So metals are malleable. Okay, next they are solid at room temperature, but one exception is there. Mercury is not solid at room temperature. Okay, it is liquid, solid at room temperature, except mercury. All the other metals are solid at room temperature. So these are some of the properties of metals. Okay, metallic luster, ductile, malleable, solid at room temperature. Now we will discuss about the properties of non-metals. So no metallic luster, no ductility for non-metals. no ductility, no malleability. And liquid or gas. Liquid or gas at room temperature. So non-metals are what? They exist in liquid state or gaseous state. For except iodine. Iodine has metallic. Oh, sorry. Here you have to write metal cluster except iodine. Okay, but this iodine element, it shows metal cluster. That is, it has a shiny appearance. Okay, then. So these are some of the properties of non-metals. One more you can write, that the metals can exist in this form. Okay, sodium, it can form in one property you write in the metal state, that they can exist in native state. Okay, that is one, you write this property in for metals. Okay, this property you write in metals, that metals exist in native state. Property number 5 for metals. But non-metals exist in combined state. Okay, non-metal exist in combined state, such as H2O, you can see, or hydrogen gas, oxygen gas. We write in this way: hydrogen H2, oxygen O2, nitrogen N2, then HCl. These are chlorine. These are all non-metals, and they cannot. We don't write chlorine molecule in this way, Cl. We write it as Cl2. So they do not exist in native state. That is, they do not exist in singular state. They always exist in combined state. So these are some of the examples of. These are the properties of non-metals, and this property you write metal exists in native state. Okay. Next, what are metalloids? They will possess these metalloids. There are no fixed property. Okay, they will exist. They will have both the properties of metals and non-metals. The elements whose properties are intermediate, between metals and non-metals. These are known as metalloids. What are metalloids? Metalloids are those elements whose properties are intermediate between metals and non-metals. Example: boron, silicon, germanium, etc. So these are some of the examples of metalloids. Okay. Now we will discuss about the difference between last portion, that is the difference between compounds and mixtures. Difference between mixtures and compounds. You see, what is a mixture? Mixture is any substance in which the elements are present in variable composition, or the substances are present in. Here the difference between mixture: substances are present in variable composition. Okay, whereas substances are present in fixed composition. That is, you say, for water molecule H2O, here water is present in H2O. The hydrogen atom, it is present in the number of hydrogen atom, it is equal to 2 and oxygen is equal to 1. Therefore hydrogen and oxygen is present in the ratio 2:1. Okay, so substances are present in fixed ratio. You can write H2O, here 2:1. So this is a fixed ratio. But if we will mix oil plus water, this will be a mixture. This is what heterogeneous mixture. Oh, sorry, this is a homogeneous mixture. That is, they exist in the two states, but we can distinctly find out the difference between the two mixtures. Okay. Say for example, whenever we will do the mixture oil plus water, here it is a mixture. So there is no fixed composition. Okay. So the composition might be, you can, if I will take 2 ml, I can take 3 ml of water. So this type of mixture, it is not there, the composition is not fixed, it is variable. Okay. So this is the first difference. In mixtures, elements just combine, whereas for compounds, you see, elements just combines means what? Like water plus oil. Here in water, what happens? Water, hydrogen is present, oxygen is present, oil is present. So they will never give a new form. New substance is not formed. But when in compound, elements combine to give elements combine to give new form or substances. So these are example. These two are the main difference between mixtures and compounds. Means elements just combine means what? For a mixture, I can hydrogen plus, you can understand. I think what are elements? Elements are those means which is made up of one kind of atom. So here there is no new compound, no new substance is formed in a mixture, because original what happens, if I will mix soil plus water plus sand, here what happens? Sand means silica. Here in this mixture, water it is here. Okay. So water plus silicon, it is not giving a new substance, just they are combining together, and we can separate the oil and we can separate the sand and water. But whenever hydrogen plus oxygen is done, it gives H2O. So new compound is formed or new substance is formed. So this is the difference. Okay. Next, this for mixture, it can be differentiated or it can be separated by physical process. Can be separated by physical process. But compound cannot be separated by, cannot be separated by, or you can write in this way, can be separated by chemical. So these are the difference between mixtures and compounds. Okay. First, substances are present in variable composition, substances are present in fixed composition. Elements just combine, no new substances formed, whereas elements combine to give new substance or new form of substance. Then separated, the mixture can be separated by physical process, whereas compound cannot be separated by physical process. We have to use some chemical process for its separation. So these are the difference between mixture and compounds, and we have come to the end of this chapter. So you better go through your question answers, and in the doubt clearing class, whoever have any doubt regarding the question answers, exercise question answers and in-text question, please come to the doubt session class. I will clear it in the session. Okay, thank you.